Yo, what's good, everyone? This is Ayo Boxing Madiba, and we're here to discuss Errol Spence versus Keith Thurman at 154. So yesterday, news broke that Errol Spence and Keith Thurman are finalizing a deal to fight at 154 in a non-title bout in April. And this matchup is a fight that I always wanted to see, but I also dislike it. The reason why is because this is going to slow down the welterweight division once again, and the welterweight division is the slowest division in boxing. Last year, every welterweight was waiting for Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford for Undisputed. And that fight would have brought life back into the welterweight division and boxing in general. But that fight never happened, and everybody waited for no reason. Look at Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz. Those guys only fought once last year, and that's a damn shame. But let's get back to the point. I feel like this fight between Errol and Keith is going to push back or eliminate the possibility of a Terrence Crawford undisputed fight. Because, in my opinion, I think Errol is going to stay at 154. Errol's been expressing that he's been outgrowing the weight class, and it's been hard for him to make the weight. You do got to realize that Errol Spence has been at 147 his whole career, so it's quite understandable, but still. And he also has obligations after the fight with Keith Thurman. So, the WBA issued a 60-day decision for him to either unify with Crawford, fight the winner of Stanionis Virgil Ortiz, or be stripped. And the IBF issued a 120-day decision for him to satisfy his mandatory, which is Jaron Ennis. And it's not 100% sure that Errol Spence will be able to do all that and be able to fight Terrence Crawford, so that's a problem. And we also have to realize that we're assuming that Errol Spence does get past Keith Thurman. I do favor Errol Spence to win because Keith Thurman has a weakness to his body. In his last three fights, he's been hurt to the body. He was hurt to the body by Mario Barrios, who got knocked out by Tank and was coming up in weight. He got hurt to the body by Manny Pacquiao, and Manny Pacquiao was past his prime and older. He got hurt to the body by Josecito Lopez, and he is not an A-level fighter. So what do you think Errol Spence will do once he touches Keith Thurman's body? He's going to cook them, barbecue them ribs, and get him out of there. But we do got to realize that Keith Thurman's a former champion. And he's been in there with the big names and the top guys. So we can't forget that. So Thurman has a possibility to upset and make Spence look bad as well. I mean, Keith Thurman has power. He has ring IQ, a high ring IQ. He's crafty, and he can box on the move. And I don't think Spence has fought a guy like this before. So it's going to be interesting. Also got to realize that this fight's going to happen in April. The same April that Tank and Ryan's happening. So is Showtime going to have 2 pay-per-views in 1 month? I've never heard of that before. And you also got to realize that Tank and Ryan's not official yet. So this all seems kind of fishy, but that's besides the point. The real question is, what is Terrence Crawford going to do next? Who's he going to fight? Crawford expressed that he wants to come back in the springtime, but all the big names at 147, which is basically Spence and Thurman, are not going to be available. So I'm going to assume that he's going to fight somebody in the top 10 WBO rankings. So let's look at who they are. Number 1 is Virgil Ortiz, but Virgil Ortiz is going to fight Stanionis in March, and that fight got pushed back, so Virgil's not going to be in the picture at the moment. Number 2 is Jaron Ennis. Jaron can probably be pushed to be the mandatory for the WBO and get a fight, but you got to realize that Jaron's with Showtime and PBC, and Crawford had a falling out with Showtime PBC last year, so maybe they don't want to do business with Showtime, or Crawford, vice versa. Number 3 is Alexis Roca, and he has a fight January 28th, but it's not guaranteed that he will be ready to fight in the spring. I mean, that fight could happen, but will the fans accept it? I don't think so. Number 4 is Keith Thurman, but we already discussed what Keith Thurman's doing. Number 5 is Cody Crowley. I mean, Cody Crowley is, let's be frank, let's be honest. I like Cody Crowley, I think he's a good fighter, but no one wants to see that shit. Dead ass, though. No disrespect. But, yeah. Number 6 is Rashidi Ellis, but Rashidi got beat in his last fight. Makes no sense for him to go in there with Crawford after, so he's out the way. And number 9 is Ugas. That's a good fight. I think that fight should happen next. They have history with each other. But once again, Ugas is a Showtime PBC, so that may not happen. And Ugas has been nowhere to be seen ever since Errol Spence collected his eye bone in that fight. So, yeah, gotta remember that. And maybe Crawford can drop his belt at 147 and go up to 154 and possibly fight Spence later this year at 154. But it wouldn't be for Undisputed, so it wouldn't have the same historical attributes and effects and importance if they fought for a non-title fight at 154. But that's still a fight people want to see. But we also gotta realize that's not guaranteed either. If they can't fight at 147 with everything on the line, when it's the most hype, what makes you think they'll fight at 154? I mean, this has been going on for years. You also gotta realize that Crawford's getting older as well. He's 35. He may be on a decline, so he needs to get these legacy fights in before it's too late. But who knows? This is boxing. Anything could happen. But thank you for tuning in to Ayo Boxing with Madiba. Hit like and subscribe, and more content's coming your way.